Next, we're going to review calibration procedures and calibration requirements. You must have documented procedures for maintenance, calibration, and verification of equipment and methods used for tests. The quality manual generally contains summary tables of some of these items. Shown on the slide are examples of summary tables and what should be included in them. Detailed procedures need to be included in SOPs for analytical staff to follow. Continuing with calibration requirements, you must have the necessary equipment to perform the analytical tests on your scope. You must have a calibration policy and procedure, and equipment must be calibrated before use and every time it leaves your control. Instructions need to be available for using equipment manuals. You need to know where they are. Equipment also needs to be uniquely identified. When looking at 555, records must be maintained for each item of equipment and must include the identity of the item of equipment and its software, the manufacturer's name, type identification, and serial number or other unique identification, checks that the equipment complies with the specification, their current location where appropriate, the manufacturer's instructions, if available, or reference to their location, dates, results, and copies of reports of certificates and all calibrations, adjustments, acceptance criteria, and the due date of the next calibration, the maintenance plan where appropriate, and any maintenance carried out to date, as well as any damage, malfunction, modification, or repair of the equipment. Section 5511, where calibrations give rise to a set of correction factors, the laboratory shall have procedures to ensure that copies are correctly updated. Section 5512 states that test and calibration equipment, including both hardware and software, shall be safeguarded from adjustments which would invalidate the test and/or calibration results. Five 513 is a critical portion of the standard and refers to support equipment. This includes, but is not limited to, balances, ovens, refrigerators, freezers, incubators, water baths, temperature measuring devices, including thermometers and thermistors, thermal pressure and sample preparation devices, and mechanical volumetric dispensing devices, such as Eppendorf or automatic diluter dispensing devices. On each day the equipment is used, balances, ovens, refrigerators, freezers, incubators, and water baths shall be checked and documented. Temperature measuring devices shall be calibrated or verified at least annually. If the temperature measuring device is used over a range of 10 degrees or less, then a single point verification within the range of use is acceptable. If that range is greater than 10 degrees, the verification must bracket the range of use. Disposable or single-use volumetric equipment, such as disposable pipettes and digitubes, used for metals digestion, shall be verified once per lot. Mechanical devices shall be verified prior to first use and on a quarterly basis. Mechanical devices used at more than one volume shall be verified at volumes bracketing the range of use, as well as a midpoint. All other support equipment shall be calibrated or verified at least annually using a recognized National Metrology Institute, such as NIST, traceable references when available, bracketing the range of use. Raw data records shall be retained to document equipment performance. 5.5, particularly 5.5.13.1, is a common area of deficiencies. Laboratories routinely forget that all equipment needs maintenance records. Commonly missed items are things like pH probes, autoclaves, and refrigerators. A catch-all maintenance log for items listed in your quality manual as being laboratory equipment is one way to handle this. Frequent laboratories forget to label thermometers properly. They need to have a unique ID and have the current calibration date as well as the next calibration due date labeled. Don't forget the correction factors associated as well. Also, don't forget to stick an out-of-service sign on equipment that's not in use. It's not uncommon for an assessor to ask about the refrigerator over there and the laboratory to say, "Oh, it's broken, we don't use that." Balances need to be checked daily over the range of use. This is frequently an issue with TSS and TDS analysis. Make sure your lowest daily check is below your lowest TSS weight and that your highest daily check is above your highest TDS weight. You can adjust which weights are used based off of what test you're running that day, or check them all so that it's never forgotten. Temperatures need to be checked every day the equipment is in use. This is commonly missed with refrigerators and standards reagents and media are stored, and BOD incubators that run over the weekends when the staff may or may not be in the laboratory. A simple fix is the use of a min-max thermometer that gets reset on Friday and the minimum and maximum temperatures recorded when staff return on Monday. Power outages are uncommon, and you want to be sure if something happened at the laboratory that it didn't impact your samples or standards and reagents. Volumetric equipment not being checked is also common. Remember that certificates provided by the manufacturer, except for Class A glassware and glass microliter syringes, are not sufficient. Disposable volumetric equipment is required to be checked once per lot. This includes metals digestion tubes, sample bottles with volumetric markings, and disposable pipettes. Other volumetric equipment must be verified when it is received. This includes plastic graduated cylinders or separatory funnels with volumetric markings. Your mechanical pipettes must be checked upon receipt and then quarterly. If they are adjustable, they need to be checked at the low, mid, and high points.